Hello and thanks for tuning in to 𝐾𝐤𝐴 TV. James Preston with you for another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. The move to a greener world with more sustainable produce and supply chains is being pushed harder and harder from all corners. It's a mission that Fair Food Forager has taken head on. The company aims to make ethical easy in the food world. With Fair Food Forager, customers no longer have to settle for overpackaged, wasteful, unethical food transported halfway around the world simply because they are hungry and time poor. Paul Hellier founded Fair Food Forager in 2015, and to get the inside scoop, he joins me now live on 𝐾𝐤𝐴 TV. Paul, great to chat with you.
G'day, how are you?
Yeah, very good, mate. Now, look, it's a very cool concept you've come up with here. Let's start with the obvious one. How exactly does Food Forager work?
Well, it's a mobile app that is crowdsourced venues. So we have ambassadors around the world, people who are interested in, say, plant-based eating, sourcing locally, or reducing plastic, for example. And so they visit a venue while they're in their travels or when local and suggest them to the app. We just do a little bit of research to make sure that they're legit, and then we load them on the app. And then when the next lot of people are traveling through that town, they can find these venues and go straight to a small business, basically, that deserves your money because they're putting in a little bit of effort to be more responsible as far as sustainability and their environmental responsibilities.
So how many ambassadors do you have working with you at the moment?
It varies. It depends. Like at the moment, I guess it's a little bit hard for people to travel. So there's not as much of that coming through. I guess at the moment, it's people trying to support small business because, as we know, in current times, small businesses are the ones being hit hardest. But in general, you know, it could be up to 50 ambassadors, but really anyone can suggest businesses if they have a particular interest in sustainability.
So if people are using the app, for example, and they go into one of your businesses, they're not an ambassador, can they then sort of send off a little chime or a message or something that notifies yourself and the people that are working with you and saying, look, you know, the place that I've just visited in, say, Bowral or Port Macquarie, this place is a really good one, we should add it to the list. Can anybody do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the Fair Food Forager website, there's a suggest a venue tab, so they can just go there and fill out the details. So whether they're local and they've spoken to the staff or the management, they can get some basic information on what the business is doing. And if they're a local, they probably have a pretty good idea already. Or on the app itself, there's a check-in button. So they can just check in, and then we're supplied with the details of the venue. They'll leave a little note to say, you know, say this business has reduced all their plastic or they're sourcing their supplies from a community garden. And then that's a good start for us to do the rest of the research and then load them onto the app.
Yeah, brilliant. So what are all the different categories available for ethical food on your Fair Food Forager app?
Yeah, well, there's 18 categories. As I mentioned, there's plant-based, so vegan, vegetarian, local produce, house-made, so they're making their own cakes or that sort of thing. Reduced plastic, reduced food waste. There's sustainable seafood, which is a very difficult one. But there's also the ability to bring your own container and fill your own containers. What else is there? There's the ocean-friendly icon. So that's working with the Surfrider Foundation, where they actually go and work with the venue and get rid of all their single-use plastic items and look, they find alternatives. So we list them as an ocean-friendly venue then. And basically anything that you can think of with that might help food sustainability. So reducing food miles, offering plant-based. It doesn't necessarily mean they're a totally plant-based venue, but they are at least giving vegans and vegetarians an option. And I came into this through my wish to reduce plastic and what it was doing to the ocean. So we offer a lot of things that can help people reduce their plastics, such as when they're travelling to countries where you can't drink the water, venues that will allow you to fill your reusable drink bottle.
Yeah, no, I guess things like Life Straw as well would also come in quite handy for those scenarios as well. And just in a place like where I'm living, for example, I'm out at Drummoyne, and there's a very popular chicken shop there, which is Char-Grilled Charlie's. They, for example, done away with the styrofoam sort of packaging for the chicken and the chips, and now they're doing the little cardboard boxes. Is that sort of the bare minimum threshold that a place needs to meet to appear on Food Forager, or does it need to be a bit more than that?
Yeah, well, and that's why we have the icons for the different methods of sustainability, so that you could see, if you're, really pedantic and you want everything to be as close to perfect as possible, you could see that a venue might have, say, 12 icons, like a food co-op that's basically doing everything they possibly can. But then you could see one like your chicken shop there that is they've just started their journey. They've cut back on plastic, and they might only have 2 or 3 icons, and you could quickly glance at those. And if that's all they're doing, that's a great start. So this app isn't about perfection. It's not, because I think if it was about perfection, we'd only have 2 or 3 venues on there. So we're really about encouraging businesses to just have a go at being a little bit more sustainable, and everyone's got to start somewhere.
You're 100% right, Paul. Now, this is the Executive Corner Expert Talks. I'm chatting with Paul Hellier, who is the founder of Fair Food Forager. Now, you founded that, Paul, back in 2015. You had 15 listings on a single website. Now you've got 6,000, 20 different countries, a beautiful mobile app. What's been the strategy behind building the app itself and all the goodwill that comes with it?
Well, I think, usually when people discover that it exists, they love the idea, and they, especially if they're travellers, they love the idea that they can go to somewhere like Sydney or Melbourne or London, where you might have thousands of options, that you can just go and search straight away the, say, 100 that are doing more ethical options for people. So people quite quickly are very interested in getting involved, and they might just suggest one business, but some of those people stay with Fair Food Forager for years and just keep suggesting places for the app, including just like a farm gate when they're on a road trip somewhere out in the middle of the country. So people are quite enthusiastic, and since 2015 we've also added our own little social media section to the app, so that people can also share their experiences in growing food or cooking their own food, or just their appreciation of nature. So sharing, photographs of sunrises or whatever. It's just all about good news. And instead of focusing on how bad things might be for the environment, they're sharing their love or their solutions. And so it gives people a reason to check in on the app if they're not traveling, and they can just, feel good and share some of their knowledge or learn from others.
Yeah, it sounds terrific, especially when we can get away from the likes of Instagram and Twitter and, having to filter through different hashtags. It's all here in one location, which I really love about that. Now, you've also developed for the Food Forager app, the Forager Store, which helps to care for the planet itself. What exactly is in the store and how does it work?
The Forager Store was, originally set up just to kind of spread the brand a little bit more. But it's all, like everything we do, it's all about, ethics and sustainability. So, we just sell a few items like reusable drink bottles and reusable coffee cups and reusable stainless steel straws. And it's just kind of a fun little store. It's not, the majority of what we do, but people can wear the brand and spread the name of Fair Food Forager out there, but do it in a way that supports, small local businesses and is reducing plastic waste at the same time.
Now, dare I ask what the shirts are made of? Is it like a hemp material, or is it something that's completely sustainable? What's it made of, Paul?
Yeah, the shirts are organic cotton, so they obviously cost us a little bit more to buy, but at least we make sure that we source them from somebody who is at least not making things worse. So, and again, it's not a big, huge volume thing. So, we just buy a few shirts as the need kind of arises, and we have fun little messages on them. So, just for a little bit of fun as well. Everything that we do is about bright, shiny, and having a good time.
Now, what is the shirt that's got the favourite message, or the product that's got the best message? What's your favourite?
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on the channel, but
veer on the side of caution.
I guess you can bleep it out, but it's our favourite message, and it was really popular with uni students, is "I give a," starts with S.
Okay, well, that's certainly one way to fertilise things, that's for sure. Paul, just before I let you go, in your opinion, why does the world need to change the way it eats?
Well, with things like climate change, food contributes about 25% of everything to the issue of climate change. So if we can start sourcing our food locally, if we can make more of our food in-house so that we have less, chemicals, support farmers who are using regenerative practices, reduce plastic, reduce the amount of food waste going to landfill. I mentioned travel, having a diet that includes at least some plant-based options, then we're reducing our impact on the planet as a whole. And I think it's quite common knowledge now what plastic is doing to our ocean, filling our landfills with plastic and food, and food waste that could be made into more soil and be growing more food. And even just supplying more of our food locally. So having these small community gardens that are supplying our little cafes with herbs. It's just reducing the need to have packaged food that we've shipped in from the other side of the world. When we can be growing it locally, it's going to have a huge impact on the planet. And I think it just makes we all eat, and we all eat on a daily basis. So it just makes because quite often I get asked from people, what can I do? Well, you can just make some little smart decisions. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a climate scientist. You can just go and make some little decisions on a daily basis that reduce your impact little bit by little bit, and it will make a huge difference collectively.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Paul. I mean, look, even in the last couple of months, I've decided myself to start doing at least one sort of big batch of vegetarian meals a week, and that's usually a 3-cheese lentil pasta. So, look, if you want the recipe, I'll have to give it to you next time. But for now, thank you so much for joining me today, Paul.
Thank you. Jump on the app and post it there, and we'll share it everywhere.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, mate. That's Paul Hellier, founder of Fair Food Forager. And if you'd like to check it all out, well, you can make sure to do that on our YouTube channel. Within the next roughly 48 hours, we'll have that expert talk up there, plus our entire catalogue to date. Stay tuned to 𝐊𝐿𝐴 TV for more news and trending updates from the business world and also the finance space. And of course, stay apprised and invest wise with 𝐊𝐿𝐴.